Hello, everyone. This is take two because I had some technical difficulty earlier. So thank goodness my camera is working and I'm live. Okay, so I was actually about 10 minutes early, but for some reason, just as well that something happened with the camera and all that, and I had time to fix it. So here I am, and in this sort of session, I wanted to just go through the things that you might need, the information that you might need if things don't go according to your expectation. For example, there's some issues with your application, time scales, what else? What you need to do if there's delay with your application and all that kind of problems. So it's sort of like problems after your submission of the application. So today I had a very interesting consultation with one client who booked a consultation with me, and it's regarding the application for naturalization. So he is an EU citizen, and he wanted to, ask me several questions about his application. And if you are if you are an EU national or a family member of an EU national, and you will want to apply for naturalization at some point in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 years. And this question about comprehensive sickness insurance. So if there's ever a period in your residence in the UK where you were self-sufficient, so meaning you were not working, you were unemployed, but you didn't claim. Okay, so you did not claim job seekers allowance. So essentially, you're relying on your own resources, but you don't have comprehensive sickness insurance. That may affect your application for naturalization, because even though the Home Office has granted you the settled status or pre-settled status, doesn't mean that that period that you didn't have comprehensive sickness insurance and you were self-employed or self-sufficient or student, doesn't mean that they are going to sort of ignore it when you apply for naturalization. So that's something that you may have to double check before you apply for your naturalization. Okay. Okay, Samina. Hi, Samina. So you're taking universal credit, can apply for fee waivers. Fee waivers, actually. So let's go back to the fee waiver, because I know this will help a lot of people. So fee waivers, I think for me, you should not hesitate to apply for fee waiver, because it is there to sort of inform the Home Office that you can't afford to pay the Home Office fees. Doesn't matter about whether you don't claim benefits. Doesn't matter whether you have a job, but if you can show that your take-home pay, so your income, meaning money that you receive every month, and the money that goes out every month, and your other obligations completely, so your expenses is more than your income, then it means, it follows that you won't be able to afford for the Home Office fees, doesn't it? So if you can show that to the Home Office, because when you apply, you have to show how much money you receive, how much money you're paying out. It's clearly that you don't have any savings, you don't have any family and friends, because in this period, everybody's sort of everybody's having financial, not everybody, but most of UK residents will experience some form of financial difficulties because of you don't have jobs, you're being made redundant, and so on. So I would, as long as you can show that there's the expenses is more than the income, and you clearly do not have any other means to pay for the Home Office fees, which is currently at 2,612 if you're paying for the Home Office fees and the immigration health surcharge. That doesn't even include the lawyers. then if you don't have the 2,000, that's just for one application. If you're talking about 2 or 3 applications, then 10,000s, unless you can borrow money from I don't know, bank or wherever you can borrow money from. But I would advise to try and apply for this fee waiver if you clearly cannot afford to pay for the fees. Okay, so that's the fee waiver. So Samina, it doesn't matter about whether or not you're receiving universal credit, because sometimes the Home Office, not the Home Office, but the UK government can be paying you maybe a lot on the universal credit, but you still have other income. Okay, it means that your income is, you have income and then the expenses is not a lot. Then the home office may think that, well, you can afford to pay. But even if you when you apply, it doesn't mean that the home office will reject it straight away. They look at your circumstances, they will look at your affordability, and if they think that you are entitled to, maybe, I don't know, either fee waiver for immigration health surcharge or fee waiver for immigration, either half. So half of either of those will be exempt. Then it's much help for you, isn't it? So at least you don't have to pay the full 2,612. You may only have to pay the immigration health surcharge, 1,560, or they may say, okay, you don't have to pay the immigration health surcharge and only pay 1,052 for the 1,052, or 1,033 for the home office fees. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so going back to the EU settlement scheme, a lot of you are wondering, well, I think I have a question in the channel where somebody asked, I have a father who is in the UK, he's been there a year, can I apply to join him? Okay, so as you know, the UK is no longer part of the European Union, and there's a deadline for everyone in the UK to apply under the EU settlement scheme by the 30th of June. So if the father has the settled status or pre-settled status under the EU settlement scheme, his family member can apply to join him, but only if they are dependent on him. So if he has children, children in the in outside the UK, let's say a Spanish citizen, and they want to join him, they have to show, if they're over 21, they have to show that they are dependent on him and he is sort of financially supporting them. But if it's a spouse, then it's kind of straightforward, because you can just say, oh, obviously the marriage certificate, you provide marriage certificate, so he can sponsor a family permit. But make sure that as soon as they arrive in the UK, they have to apply for the EU settlement scheme. Otherwise, they can only stay up to 90 days if they're European citizens, and 90 days out of 180 days. So that is the position. If actually, if you want more information about the EU settlement scheme, there is an organization. Okay, let me just pull the 1 second. Let me just get the link, and then I will. I think 3 million org. Just 1 minute. Org.uk. Oh, that's not the one. Wait a minute. I did email it to somebody earlier. Let me just check. Okay, so if you go to this page, okay, so this page, www.3million.org.uk. Just make sure it is the correct one. www.3million.org.uk. Oh, I have to make sure it's HTTPS. www.the3million.org.uk. Yeah. Okay, so this is the website which I'm okay, the comment there. Okay, so the information is there about settlement. They are the one who represents the EU nationals. They're a non-profit organization, and they are sort of in touch with it's an official website for support for EU nationals. Okay, so all EU nationals. So if you have any questions about settlement status that that I haven't answered, and you want more information, and you want you want to read. So some people like to read, right? So if you want to read, then that is the website that you can sort of for reference you can check. It sort of deals with naturalization, settlement status, what happens after you applied for pre-settled status. Okay, Adele, I've got your question. I'm holding pre-settled status. Do I need my sponsor for settled status after 5 years? Most likely, yes. Okay, most likely, yes. Yes, you do actually. Yes, you do actually. So let's say you are married. Okay, you are married. If you are married and your sponsor is the EU national, and that's the reason why you have the pre-settled status. When you switch it to settled status, the Home Office will ask you for your evidence of your relationship. Although, okay, if you're separated, you're still going to be granted, I think. Okay, but if you are divorced, then that will be completely different story. In fact, I had one application. So they were married. But they were separated sort of like two and a half years ago. But he anyway applied for the pre-settled status, which he was granted. Okay, there is a letter from the wife that says we're separated, but we're not divorced. Okay, and then we applied for the settled status. Somebody asked earlier. Somebody asked in the channel, do I what was the question? Sorry, completely lost the question. What was I going to say was that so for this client's case, we submitted his application for settled status. Okay, so there's no divorce yet. We just submitted it. Oh, I got the question now. I got the question now. Somebody asked, what happens? What is the procedure for applying for settled status? Okay, so if you're pre-settled status, what's the procedure for applying for the settled status? So many confusion there. Pre-settled, settled. So if you have pre-settled and you want to convert it to settled status, the procedure is exactly the same as applying for pre-settled. Okay, so go through the same application, apply under pre-settlements, apply through EU settlement scheme. You just type up exactly the same procedure, and then at the end you download documents. I think there should be a link that says you can upload documents. Sorry, not download, upload documents. For this client, we kind of updated his documents. So he was granted, I think March 2020, his pre-settled status, but then he was entitled to apply for the settled status in October 2020. And we applied, when we applied? December. So we applied in December. So we just uploaded the documents from March 2020. So the date that they granted him the pre-settled status. But if you are working, okay, if you're working, and as you know, one of the questions on the pre-settlement status application is your national insurance number. If you type that up, they would, they just check the records on the HMRC to see if you have been working, what's your employment, what's your, economic activity, whether you're self-employed and so on. And if they can see that, you've been working, then they would grant you the settled status. If you have not, if they can't find any records that shows you have been working, then they will ask for documents. They will say, provide proof of this, 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 this. In fact, I just remembered now with this client, when he applied for the pre-settled status, they didn't, it took them a while to grant him the pre-settled status. They wrote to him and say, we want you to provide documents, like proof of relationship. Okay, so Adele, they might, if you're applying for the settled status after 5 years, you might be asked for proof of relationship if you are married, for example. Then they might ask to confirm whether you're still together. So if you're not together but you're not divorced, then it would help if you can get a letter from your from your wife to say that you're separated but not divorced. Okay, so this is what we did, and we're still waiting for the decision on the settlement status. So we're hoping it will come through. Okay, so that's the answer to that. Okay, so for the settlement status, because I think it's kind of it's very topical, EU settlement scheme. If you have any problems with the application, there is, so again, I'm going to I'm going to check on my phone. You need to call the EU Resolution Center, don't you? 1 second. So EU Resolution Center. So for EU settlement scheme problems, contact EU settlement scheme resolution. Contact, and this is the number 0300 123 7379. Okay, so yes, so any questions about if any problems that you encounter with application for EU settlement scheme, call them and make inquiries. They're very helpful. They're really friendly. They're there to help you. They're supposed to help you. Okay, so okay. If you have any questions, just pop them here, and I will deal with them. I haven't really prepared any topic tonight. I just thought I'd show myself. I'd show my face and see if there's anyone who wants to ask me questions. If I can just have a look quickly on some of those questions that you sent to me, but which I may not have answered them. So just bear with me. Okay. Okay. One of the questions that I received here is about what documents to submit. Okay. So. Okay, so if you're replacing a residence card, okay, let's say you're placing your old EU residence card to a new one because you've not received it, and the Home Office has not issued you with one after you've submitted an application for EU, for your pre-settled status. what documents you're going to submit with your application. The Home Office, when you make the application, they generate this checklist. Okay, they generate these um, documents that you're supposed to provide. You're supposed to submit with your application, and you will have things like proof of your residence, proof of your address. So proof of your address, it will be things like your bank statement that goes in there, your council tax, any bills in your name. So those are the documents, proof of address. Now you will be asking, well, how far do I go back to show that I've been living at this address? There isn't any guideline. The Home Office doesn't say as well what year, what period you should provide. Sometimes they do. They may say for the last 6 months or for the last 2 years. Then provide them with those documents. But if there isn't, and let's say you're applying for BRP and you had it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, then I would, if you can, the more documents you provide, the better. Okay, so things like if you're married to an EU national, you have to provide marriage certificate. So it sort of confirms relationship. You should always think in terms of, well, what are they actually looking for? Okay, so I'm applying for, I'm a family member. Would they need my marriage certificate? Would they need where I live? Would they need whether or not I'm working? Would they need my husband, wife, or partner's passport? So all of these things. So you need to also think along those lines. Well, what documents do I need to provide? Documents for my partner as well. If you are dependent on that person, then yes, you should, because your right to remain in the UK is attached to the EU national, okay, or attached to your sponsor. Okay, so Adele, is there any retained rights of residence? As far as I know, there is, Adele. Okay, but let me double check, because again, EU settlement scheme is not something I do every day, and that's why I do this video, because it's not something that a lot of lawyers do day in and day out, because there's this organization, the 3million.org.uk, has all the information. They also have maybe like charity lawyers that deals with this. Okay, but normal lawyers, unless their market is European, then they don't normally deal with it day in day out. But let me just have a look. Okay, so there is the appendix. Okay, so I'm looking at the rule itself. Appendix EU settlement scheme, and it will tell me whether or not to do with the regulations. Okay. Is it guidance? I need immigration rules. Okay, Maya, I've got your question. You'll be next. Okay, just 1 second. So for those of you who are joining me, I'm looking for the rule whether or not there is a retained rights of residence under the EU settlement scheme. As far as I could remember, there was one. Okay, I tell you what, Adele, okay, this is a question for you. Let me double check and read this thoroughly, okay, because this will actually take time. So I found the immigration rules, but I want to also find out whether there is actually a right of residence under the EU settlement scheme. Because if you are already granted pre-settled status, what happens if the relationship breaks down in between? Before you reach 5 years, right? So you want to find out. So can you email me, okay, Adele, so that I can reply to you and confirm whether or not there is a right of residence under the settlement scheme. So the email address, if you pay attention, It's help at doityourselfimmigration.co.uk. All right. So it's help at doityourselfimmigration.co.uk. All right. And then once I receive it, then I have, because I have it here, but I think it requires, it requires research, and I also want to find out. Okay, Maya. Okay. Surrender BRP for the one they send. Okay. Like expire BRP. Okay. So if you are leaving the UK, do you need to surrender your BRP? You shouldn't if it's still valid. Okay. If it's expired already, then yeah, you're supposed to return it. But most people who have the BRP and have expired, and they're not applying, I think they probably just keep it. Okay. Okay, they'll noted. But the other question that you are asking about domestic violence, Maya, is no, they don't. Okay, they don't know anything about the application for domestic violence. As far as I know, they don't, and there's a reason for that, because it's the nature of the application. It's sensitive. It's private, and all applications are private. They don't, they don't actually inform the partner. What happens with spouse visas is that if the British partner or the settled person who is in the UK writes to the Home Office and say something completely, untrue, rubbish, and say, the relationship broken down, it's your fault, blah blah blah, the Home Office, doesn't investigate it. Okay, all they do is, if they have notification that the relationship has broken down, has ended, then they revoke the spouse visa. That's what they do, unless the partner then decides to, oh, by the way, we're back together, blah 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 blah. In fact, I had one of these kind of cases just recently. Somebody messaged me. She's married. She applied for spouse visa from her home country, and the husband changed his mind and wrote to the Home Office and say, oh, by the way, my email was hacked and it was her fault, blah blah blah. And her visa, okay, she was issued with entry clearance, and her visa was revoked because of whatever disagreement they had. So anyway, definitely going back to your question, Maya, definitely they won't inform your partner. They won't notify him that you've made an application. Okay, so it will be completely private. No, he doesn't have to sign anything. No, so no need for him to sign. No need for him to do anything. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you use whatever evidence you have under your name. So use your name. If there's a council tax in both your names, then that's fine. If you have joint names, then you have a right to joint name bank account. You have a right to submit that as well. Yes, yes. Okay, so I hope you're getting help with your application, and I'm sorry for what you're going through. You're not alone. There's a lot of cases like this. Okay, guys, if you have any other question, please pop them on this box, and then I will answer them. I'll have another, I think, 10 minutes, okay, or 5 minutes, and then I will have my dinner. Yeah, no problem, Adele, no problem. So, in fact, while I'm waiting for questions for 5 minutes, then I'm going to check Adele's question. So this is about EU settlement scheme. Retained rights of residents. Retained. Thank you, Maya. Retained rights of residents. Maya, if you have a look on one of my if you have a look on one of the videos on this channel, there is a guide for how to make your statement, because your statement as a victim of domestic violence is sort of like one of the main evidence that you need to submit for your application, and it has to be very thorough. Make sure you kind of follow it, because sometimes as a victim of domestic violence, you and if you don't know what to write in your statement, this can be quite you can make mistakes, and it can be sort of like whether yes or no answer to your application. Okay, if you say if you say something in your application, that in your statement, that you shouldn't really mention, and you mentioned it because you sometimes it's difficult to sift through what's important and what's not, and by writing it, you think whatever you've written will be acceptable. Yeah, it's very important not to sort of, just to make sure you include the details of the abuse, and nothing else. Okay, so all you have to do is just say this is what happened with the marriage and so on. So there's a video on this that gives you tips on how to write it. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, I think I found some information about the retained rights of residents, Adele. So I should be able to email you sometime later. Okay, later today or tomorrow. Okay, on that. So I think I'm okay. Wait another minute. I think see if somebody else wants to ask questions. So earlier I was also, I don't know everything. I don't know everything in my head. And somebody asked about the comprehensive sickness insurance for EU settlement. Sorry, EU nationals. Somebody want to apply for naturalization, and whether it will affect their application, whether they be granted naturalization if they didn't have the comprehensive sickness insurance. So I had to do research, and luckily I found out the answer, which is really good. so by you asking questions, just pop them, and I will point you to the right resources. Either I'll find out the answer for you, or I'll point you to the things that you need to read. Okay, well, it is 5 minutes exactly. So I'm going to say goodbye and hope to see you next week. Sorry, last week I was not able to do the live video. And so I'm making an effort to do it this week, and then next week again. Okay, so I'll be here every Tuesday, so YouTube Tuesday. Question and answer. If you have any questions that you wanted to ask an immigration lawyer, then come to this session, question and answer on Tuesday, YouTube question and answer Tuesday at 7 p.m. Chucky, which website, Chucky? Is that to do with the retained rights of residents? Let me know. Okay, so I've got some questions here. All right. 2.5 years in the UK as a partner of the person who represents the partners, Irish citizens. 2.5 years. Okay. As a partner of sole person, the sole person which is my partner is the Irish citizen. Okay. Leifur Muhammad. Okay. Um, Muhammad, were you, when you say 2.5 years, that will be under the immigration rules, right? And so, did your partner convert into Irish citizen? Did he recently become Irish citizen, or has he always been Irish citizen? Is the question. As what I have a question on that. So, am I qualified to apply for EU settlement? If you are, yes, if you are in the UK, if your partner is an Irish citizen in the UK as well, then yes, you can apply for. If you know, I'm assuming that. So again, I'm a bit. I have a question about this 2.5 years and the UK law as a partner of a settled person. Why were you? Did you make a mistake applying for the spouse visa? Okay. Why was your partner, has your partner always been an Irish citizen? If he was, then he could have sponsored you. If he was in the UK, he would have easily sponsored you on a family permit, and you didn't have to apply for the spouse or partner's visa, which I'm sure costed you probably a lot, right? 3,000 something to come to the UK. If your partner is in the UK, if you're both in the UK and he's always been an Irish citizen, then yes, apply for EU settlement to get the pre-settled status, to get the 5 years pre-settled status. And then, but make sure you apply as soon as possible because there's a deadline. The deadline of 30th of June. So make sure you apply and get it and follow it up as soon as you can, like after a month. Please could you check the website? The 3 million, yes, that's the one. There's a link on Chucky. There's a link that I posted that should be it should be there. Okay, you can click on it and it'll take you to the website. And that website is it's a kind of it's a non-profit organization that helps EU citizens in the UK. Okay. Okay. MJ, you applied under the EA family permit. Yeah, it's so there's two things that you can. I don't know what you mean by should you have applied under the EU settlement scheme instead. No, you need a family permit if you're outside the UK, but the family permit, it should be family permit under the European settlement scheme. Okay, that should be the one that you tick. But is your partner an EU citizen, MJ? If he is and he has a settled or pre-settled status, then your application should have been a family permit under the EU settlement scheme. I don't know if that's the case in your situation. Because I think presently there are two can't remember exactly, but there are options when you apply for family permit. I think one of them is just family permit or family permit under the European settlement scheme, and that applies if your sponsor has either pre-settled status or settled status under the European settlement scheme. And if they have, then yeah, you're on the right track. But if you I is your yeah, I need to find out about whether your partner is an EU citizen or an EEA. And did you do it yourself as well, or did you ask a lawyer to help you with the application? Okay, guys, I have to say goodbye. And so if you leave more questions on the side, I will pick them up tomorrow and I'll answer them. I'm hoping that those who have taken the time to make comments on my videos and I haven't sort of answered your question, please email me and email me with the questions. And again, the email is help, so HELP, help at doityourselfimmigration.co.uk. That is the email address to reach me. Okay, have a lovely evening and see you next week. Oh, okay, Melinda, I will be doing this. Actually, I have this video, and I have this video, but it needs connecting. Okay, it needs connecting because I sort of like videoed myself on my mobile, and then at the same time I was completing the form. So it needs to be sort of like I don't know how you do it, merged. It has to be merged. It has to be merged. Okay, so but I have a video on this, how to complete the form to extend your visa under the, yeah, it needs editing, but it needs also merging. Yes, yes, yes. And it's quite fiddly because then I have the mobile phone and then this. So I did it in two settings because there's so many questions. Okay, for your type of application, there's so many questions, like hundreds and hundreds of questions. Depends on what answer you give, and it asks you more questions. Okay. So MJ, so EU settlement Portuguese, yeah. So he has pre-settled status. That means you should have applied under family permit. Uh, you're applying for family permit under the European settlement scheme. Yes. Mm, did you make a mistake? Possibly. You could redo it again, not attend your appointment tomorrow, do it again, submit again, but under the EU settlement scheme. Because if you make an invalid application, you could be waiting for something that you could be waiting, and the Home Office will say it's invalid. Okay, and that could be, it doesn't cost you anything. So I would either I don't know whether you can cancel your appointment, try cancel your appointment and redo your application and then make an appointment again. Because I think if you're doing it in Manila, then there's a lot of appointments available there. Okay, hi, okay, guys, I have to go. So thank you for joining me, and I hope this video has been useful. Anything that you want to ask, or like you want me to prepare a video for, just let me know, and I will do my best to do it. But I have done this, how to complete the family permit to renew the 10-year visa. Okay, bye everyone. Bye.